Welcome to the Wally Show Aftercast. All those things we didn't get to during the course of the show today. Witch! We've been doing that all day long. There's a TikTok video going around of this pastor that is claiming that he has witches in his audience. There's 6 of you. 3 of you are right here, right now. And oh boy, we got first and last names. Witch. And it's bizarre. And it happened right near here, which is...
Oh, it did?
Yeah, it was a Tennessee thing.
Oh.
Yeah, surprise.
I didn't know that.
Had to be in the South.
Surprise. Yeah, so, I mean, it's like the guy's going like nuts. He's like, and one of you was even in my wife's Bible study, you witch. And you think I'm being overly dramatic. That's a pretty good impersonation of it.
Yeah.
This guy's crazy.
So I've been yelling that all day, like every time I get a chance.
And it hasn't gotten old. I'll tell you that. It's been fun.
No, you've laughed almost every time, Rock.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that it's not.
But it did make me think of this, like when, like you go to a church, like you're visiting a church, and something like that happened. I would be out of there in a heartbeat, a split second.
But when you did that, they'd think you're the witch.
Oh, I don't even care. I do not even care. I'd fight everyone on the way out of that place. Like I have left a church before because we were visiting churches. We were in Atlanta and we were visiting a church kind of up in the northern part of where we were going to live, and we were looking at houses and churches, and it was a kind of a little country part. It wasn't like downtown metropolis Atlanta. And so we're at this one church. We dropped Haley off. She's at the kids' church, and my wife and I were there. And I just got the weirdest snake handling vibes. Like, it was just weird. There was something that didn't sit right in my soul in this place. And
based on a feeling?
Yes. And just the people were creepy, and it felt like they all knew each other and were probably related. It was just weird, and so, and this isn't really when I wanted to spend a lot of time in church either, and so I'm sure my wife thought, okay, he just doesn't want to go to church. But they bowed their head for a prayer, like up near the beginning of the service. And I told my wife, I said, I'm leaving. I will be more than happy to come back and get you, but I would hope you would follow me out because I'm going to get Haley because something's weird here. And so she kind of was like, yeah, I kind of get that vibe too. So we walked out in the middle of the prayer and went and got Haley. I'm like, hey, I need to pick up my daughter. Oh, well, church isn't even over yet. We just started. Everything okay? Everything's fine. Just please get her for me now. Like just now. And got her, and then we went to McDonald's, and best church day ever.
Amen.
So yeah, but it was one of those things, man. Like if I had been in that situation, I would have bailed instantly. I've done it. I have you ever been in a church, like you've ever visited a friend's church and it was weird, Rock? Because you kind of went to the same church for a long time growing up, and then you went to your brother-in-law's church for a while, and so you couldn't walk out of that one.
No. My parents and I, we went to go visit this church once, and there was a man, I think I told this before, that in the middle of the service, he stood up in the back and he started yelling at the pastor, calling him like the devil, Satan, all this stuff.
Really? Okay, that'd be interesting.
And saying like he was doing the devil's work and all this stuff. And the pastor stopped and he said, hey, we need to pray for this gentleman. Ooh. And as he's praying for this guy, he's still yelling, but the ushers get him and take him out.
Hog tie him.
Yeah, and I remember being so nervous.
How old were you?
Oh, I had to be in the single digits.
Oh, yeah,
8
that'd
or
be
9.
freaky. But Danny Ray's probably like, all right, that's cool.
Leave him in.
Then they brought out a snake, and then we felt at home.
I'm going to regulate this situation. That would be, as a kid, that would freak you out. Now anymore, too, where everything gets violent quickly. Like any sort of disruption anywhere makes you super on edge and highly alert. Have you ever had a weird church thing, Gavin?
No. I think we, at one point, I was told, after the fact, that this one dude was trying to, he had come to church for the first time, was wanting to volunteer in the kids ministry. The first day he was there, it's oh, I'd love to volunteer in the kids ministry. And then they were escorting him out due to what they found out to be, because my friend's a cop, and he's I know this guy. Due to some previous charges of a certain sort.
Oh, wow.
And so they got that guy out fast.
That's crazy.
So that was free. And, that didn't have immediate ramification material tied to it, but that was freaky in general, that somebody was just in there that had some form of a past that we were like, we don't want that with our kids.
Yeah, I have been in churches before, where one time we visited with some friends, and it was like a normal church that a lot of people I knew went to, but it was more a Pentecostal church and stuff. And so one time some lady in the front row just starts singing during worship and just starts singing her own words and her own thing, and it was kind of in the spirit, and so the band stopped what they were doing and then kind of played along with whatever she was doing. It was, yeah, it was, and then of course that's where your friends are like, this never happens. No, they were too good at that for this to have never happened before. So I'm like, I'm not going back. Kind of weird. So. All right, so some of the stuff that we didn't get to on the show today, besides that. Gavin, did you see Batgirl stuff at all? Did you follow any of that?
I've been following it recently about this whole story of it actually got produced.
Yeah.
Because I saw that, canceled. I'm like, they canceled the idea of it. But I didn't know that it was a full-fledged thing.
And they spent $90 million on it.
That's a ton of money.
$90 million.
Justify that?
How do you not just release that and try to make at least $100 back?
What are you talking about?
Batgirl.
Yeah,
it's a movie.
They had literally, the company, I think HBO or Warner Brothers,
it's HBO,
had created a movie, Batgirl, like Batman, but Batgirl, and they spent $90 million on it.
They brought Michael Keaton back.
And they very recently just decided, we're not going to release this in theaters. We're not going to put it on HBO Max, which is what they do with some of these new DC movies. And they decided, it's just not going to happen.
They hadn't quite finished it, so they were still going to have to spend a little bit more money on it, but not a lot. But then they were like, this is still well under most action figures. They had testing that didn't test well, and they've shifted their focus at the movie theater company, at the production company, and they're like, it just doesn't meet the standards. It's done. And so they just killed it. And now they did go on to say that the lady who starred as Batgirl, they're like, she was great. Not a reflection on her. Yeah. Just a bad movie.
But can she put that on her resume?
I know, yeah.
Can she even submit any of that to other companies when she's trying out for other action roles?
Yeah, see, I thought of that as a dad who has a daughter that's in theater stuff, and you want your big break, and so she gets this act, and she's telling everybody, I'm a Batgirl. It's going to be huge. It's going to be everywhere, and then it doesn't show ever. I felt so bad for that girl. We knew a friend of a friend and their daughter. They got a role on Broadway, and COVID hit. And so
bummer.
COVID hits, they shut everything down. She gets put on hold for a year and a half or whatever it was. And then when they came back, this was her big break. I think it was for Frozen. So this was her big break. And then they just closed the show. So she... And now you would think, okay, well, now I've had this big break. I'll get another one tomorrow, obviously. She hasn't gotten anything since. And it's just it's such a heartbreaking, frustrating business. So I definitely feel bad it's that long. And the whole time I'm thinking, how do you pick anything up? How do you do a job?
You have to do it the outside of your knuckles, the inside of your knuckles. You can't do a thing.
You could never work at a cash register. That's for sure.
Go to the bathroom.
She said that she can pick money off the floor if it's bills. I guess she can put her Edward Scissorhand claws together, but
she
she
said
can't
she
pick up
uses
change.
her toes. She uses her toes to pick up the cash, but she can't pick up change.
Your hands, for whatever reason, because you got into Guinness Book of World Records, have become ineffective.
She has have hands. I don't know. I'm not sure how you can have a life without someone
taking care of you,
losing theirs to take care of you.
Yeah, how do you eat? Do you just face down into a trough?
I don't know. But there is a bigger story behind it that I don't think Guinness World Book of Records was her goal.
Right.
But she, in an article, she said that she stopped cutting her nails, I think it was 25 years ago, because her 16-year-old daughter died unexpectedly in the middle of the night due to an asthma attack. And her 16-year-old daughter was the one that always painted her nails for her. And so the mom said that every time she went to go and cut her nails, it would be this overwhelming grief that would take a hold of her.
Sure.
So she just stopped doing it, and then I guess she never picked it back up.
Boy, but then at some point in time when they were say 6 inches long, you're like, boy, they're still there, and it's still a reminder. But where did it transfer in her mind?
And it it might be that if she cut her nails, she feels like she's cutting off her daughter that passed. I don't know.
No.
But I think she probably should see a specialist about it, because that's It's sad.
That was always the most fascinating thing for me about watching the show Hoarders was after you get over the first shock of somebody's living in this house where you just crawl over garbage that's up to the roof just to walk around and just the disgusting conditions of it. Once you get past that, you typically find out that they're holding on to things because of some trauma in their life. There was some pivotal moment that triggered all of this to happen for them. And it's super, super sad. But then when they find that and they get down to it, then they start to address that and then they can actually get help. But it was just, I was like, oh my gosh, these fingernails. No. Like my wife will look at mine a lot of times and be like, those are too long. You got to cut those, you know? And so I'm like looking at them right now. I'm like, okay, yeah, I need to maybe do a little manicure here. Yeah, I've never gotten a manicure as a guy.
Oh, me neither.
I wouldn't. There's no way. I know guys that do, but no. Wouldn't.
I'm not going to hold my breath.
And I wouldn't get a pedicure either. Like I'd like for them to take care of this one toe because there's something going on. But
I think that a pedicure would be healthy and probably a good thing.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what's going on down there. Maybe I got some weird toe stuff that might come back to bite me in the future. But I don't think that's ever going to be worth the man card giving up to sit there and ask for them to do something.
And I feel bad about having someone else have to touch my feet.
Oh, man.
That's why I don't get massages. I feel bad about somebody that has to like touch my back.
And that's their profession.
And feel the flesh.
They have chosen that.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like, you didn't choose me.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. It's not like you're massaging Brad Pitt. You know, you're massaging me.
I'd get more massages if I was fit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If I was ripped, like, let's do this. But yeah, when you have to take your shirt, I don't want to take my shirt off at the pool.
No.
You know? Lady Rock, what do you got?
There is a guy on TikTok that his video is going viral. It's him and his friends. They're standing out in a parking lot, and he can do a killer impression of Michael Jackson singing "The Way You Make Me Feel." When you hear this audio, I don't think you could tell the difference between the two.
Really?
And the thing is, too, this guy that's doing the impression looks nothing like Michael Jackson at all. But it's just crazy how he can channel him, and it sounds just like the actual audio.
The way you're making me feel.
Oh, wow.
I'm feeling turning me on. You're not me off of my feet now, baby.
Wow.
My lonely days are gone.
Yeah, that is good.
You can't tell the difference.
No, that is good. Is that a white guy? Have you seen the video?
He's not white. No,
Okay.
I'm not sure what race he is, but he's not Caucasian.
Yeah,
But
that's good.
But he's like heavier set.
See, that's what made. That's why I asked, because it's not. There's no way it's Sidewalk Prophets Dave, is it?
No.
Okay, because Dave from Sidewalk Prophets does a great Michael Jackson.
Does he?
Yeah. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we've talked about this last time he was in. I was like, I want to do a Michael Jackson bit with you next time you come in because we didn't have time and I hadn't planned it out. But when I found out he could do this stuff, I'm like, oh, it'd be really funny to have him do like a karaoke with Michael Jackson songs.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
spiritual blessings.
I know. Let's do some birthdays. I have one thing here, and we can do this before we get to yours. This is from Gary. He says, hey, I enjoy the show. Have for a few years. My wife, Kate, and I, like, if you could wish her a happy birthday on the 4th. She is turning 50. It's also our 27th anniversary on the same day. That was genius. Get married on her birthday. One present. Nicely done, Gary. You have really upped the game here.
Wow.
Yeah, that's that guy. Forward thinker. I really appreciate that about him. So happy birthday for you, Kate, and also happy anniversary, you guys. 27th anniversary. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
What do you got?
Kelsey wants to wish her buddy Ethan, a.k.a. Cuz, I'm guessing,
Nice.
a happy birthday. Cous.
Cuz.
Okay.
Cows? Cuz?
Weird.
He's turning 10 and he loves to watch hockey and play hockey.
Nice.
Question is for Gavin, the sports fan.
Yes.
Would you rather get your front teeth knocked out in hockey or get hit numerous times with a soccer ball like Scott Sterling?
Oh,
like Scott Sterling. I'd go, Scott Sterling.
yeah.
Really?
Teeth. You have to go through so much of a procedure to actually get those replaced. Then they're not even your teeth. You just get smacked in the face with a soccer ball. And from experience, I played soccer for 12 years. That's happened like plenty of times.
That hurts.
Oh.
It hurts. I did have one game because you have the goalie, the guy protecting the net. He kicks the ball, and I play defense, so the ball travels hundreds of feet, and then it's in the air, and it comes down, and I have to head it to send it back that way. There was one game I did that 10 plus times,
Ow.
and the last time I did it, I did see stars because that ball's just bang,
Yeah.
and you are like, woo.
But still better than losing your teeth.
Way better than losing your teeth.
Oh, the teeth hurt. Like teeth stuff just makes me cringe.
Yeah.
I speaking of soccer like that, I remember two things that happened when I was playing high school soccer. The goalie came out and a guy was coming in, and so the goalie's going out to catch it, and the guy coming in is trying to head it into the goal, misses the ball, and their two heads hit, and the sound was huge, and both of them split their heads wide open. It was like,
Lord help us.
Yeah.
and then that's how I fractured my sternum. Was I slid to go slide and get a ball, and the goalie had jumped up, and his foot came down and right down the middle of my chest, and I was 4 foot nothing at the time. Like I was tiny, and this
Cleats
goalie
hurt.
was huge, and just it cracked my chest. So I had a crack in my sternum,
Ow.
and that messed me up for years. Like I would go surfing, even as a teenager, because this was like when I was in junior high. And when I was a teenager, I'd be surfing and paddling, and I'd have to stop because I couldn't breathe, and coughing hurt. Like it was a long.
Yes.
That one took a long time
That's
to
a
heal.
long road.
It hurt.
So, but all that to say, the whole getting hit in the mouth with a puck, and you're just gonna taste puck forever.
Hockey players are so tough, though, man. Like these are the guys that, like all these other sports, like soccer, like I've twisted my ankle. Pickleball, ow, my calf hurts. But like these guys, man, like they go and split a face open, they stitch them up, and then they're back out on the ice.
Who do you think is tougher? Those who play hockey or those who bull ride?
Ooh, tough
Hockey.
call.
I think
both are tough.
I think I might choose hockey.
Yeah.
Because I think it's like every game you go out there, you are going to get smacked around, smashed. There's a good. I would not want to be thrown off a bowl, but you're not necessarily doing that. Like
Every time. If you can
for
stay
2
on for
hours.
8 seconds, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
So-
you just need 8 seconds of glory. You know, in hockey, you got 3 periods of just getting your face wrecked, and somebody is actively trying to hurt you with a stick. That's the other thing too. Like
When you really dumb it down,
Yeah.
someone is actively trying to hurt you with the stick.
Well, that's the thing about lacrosse that I've never understood. In hockey, you can't cross-check, okay? You can't take your stick sideways and hit somebody across the back or whatever. You can't high stick. Like, you can't bring your stick up. There are rules. Lacrosse is the craziest thing. They have
Smacking each
less
other.
padding, and you're allowed to hit people across the arms, like with a lacrosse stick. And women play this. It's the craziest thing.
Maybe that's your next sport, next to pickleball.
Women's lacrosse, yes.
They'll let
yes.
you in.
Oh, and they would own me.
They would murder you.
Oh, some of these women's lacrosse players, man, no thank you.
Oh, so cute. He wants to play lacrosse with
Yeah, and
us.
it's funny. Like they have pink helmets and pink eye goggles and pink baskets, and then they're just beating the snot out of each other. So good, you guys. All right. Well, with that, I've got pickleball tonight, and so got new shoes that hopefully are going to enable me to not get hurt.
The ones you're wearing right now, the
Yes.
Vans?
Yeah, the Vans.
And
All
then
right.
tomorrow, we are going to celebrate Wally's birthday because he will be celebrating over the weekend in Florida
Yeah.
with his daughter,
Yeah.
which also reminds me we will not be having a
Aftercast or podcast?
we may have an aftercast. We'll see.
Oh, you're taking
On
Monday off,
Tuesday,
though, too,
but
yeah.
definitely not Monday.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go. You're forewarned. We'll remind you again tomorrow. We, in all seriousness, like we remind you and stuff about that. But man, I really appreciate people that miss us. It's kind of nice. People are like, "Oh, I missed you. I'm glad you guys are back." Thank you. Because sometimes people around here just don't care.
Witch!
And that's going to do it for your Aftercast. I'm assuming that's what you're naming it today. Witch!